I did. No, I didn't.
Welcome to Elle Unfiltered, where you can hear the stories from behind the scenes from actors, artists, producers, and writers, and more.
All right, where are my notes at? Notes. Okay. Oh, wait, whole lot going on this afternoon. All right, you guys. What in the world? There you go. All right, you guys. Welcome to Elle Unfiltered. I'm Elle. Today's guest. We are gearing up for today's guest. As you guys can hear in the background, there's always a whole lot of stuff going on uh, where I am. So anyway, today's guest is Anna Nicholson. So we're going to catch up with our Canadian singer. So today we're crossing borders. I always tell you guys how we have artists from all around the globe, and today one of those artists is here. Miss Anna Nicholson. I'm a singer and songwriter. Miss Anna, how are you?
I am so good. How are you?
I am super good. It's just a lot of noise going on around here, but
That's okay. I've actually had to step away. I'm downtown Vancouver doing some shopping with family, and I've snuck away into a back alley, so there could be some noise here too.
well, that's okay. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you reached out to us so we can have you on. Everybody's watching you, so hey, tell everybody just wave at Anna if you can. She's on social media everywhere: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and somewhere else. I talk slow, so tell me if I talk too fast, and I'll shut up because I do that.
No, it's good. It's good.
It's my
Got
mother's
the
fault.
energy.
It's my mother's fault. I'm like, Mom, what are you talking about? Take a breath. Gee whiz. Okay, so Anna. Okay, so are you from Ontario? Where in
Yes.
Canada are you actually from?
So I was raised in Toronto. I'm actually from Cyprus, which is out in the Middle East, but I immigrated to Canada when I was very little and grew up in Toronto. And but in the last 15 years, been living about 3 hours from the city in a remote community called Bruce County. The town I live in's got 12,000 people, just to give you an
Wow.
idea. So it's quite a bit different from downtown Toronto and the suburbs where I did grow up. So yeah, it's a different vibe, but that's where I'm living.
Wow, 12,000 people. I like the
Yeah.
idea of it, but I don't know if I could really do it. I like here's what I do. I like the feel of a small town, but then the big area is right next door. That's what I like.
Oh, yeah, I know. I know. I feel it. It took me 3 years to get used to living there, but I wouldn't go back now. So
So this is to say you're comfortable right where you are, so you won't making any major moves across the border except where you are right now.
yes, yeah,
I like that. So Miss Anna, no,
that's
okay.
me.
I'm trying. I have my notes in front of me, and I'm just like, where are my glasses? Because I can't see them. But anyway, so for the audiences listening and across all networks, they're all giving you like a little wave and saying hi to you.
That's
And
awesome.
so since she's a musician artist, how would you describe your sound? Because I've been listening and I can't really put my finger on it. So you describe to our viewers your sound.
Yeah, so the thing is, I write in multiple genres. And I don't play any instruments, and I don't really, I wish I could, but I don't. When I write songs, it's just a rhythm that comes to me and a melody that comes to me, and then I kind of feel the vibe and the emotion of it, and then I write lyrics to it. So, my process is really it's different than many people's, and it's ultimately I get an idea of the genre of the song, and then I work with a producer to map out the chords of the melody that I've come to him with, and then we build up the music around that. So I write in multiple genres. I have put out an Americana album, so that was one thing, and I hired actually a fantastic Canadian singer for that album. She actually worked as a songwriter in Nashville for many years, and then she moved back home. So she was the lead vocals on that album, and the idea was for me to create a bunch of different kind of music that maybe I could pitch to other artists, but at the same time, I started loving doing it so much. Um, that I'm singing some of my own songs now as well. And I have a lot of pop songs and a couple of rock. This year I'll be finishing the alternative rock genre, which is going to be a bit heavier. And I've got one of those songs out right now as well. So it's a bit of a mixed bag. I've got an EDM song. It's very different. I've got some that
Wow,
are
you are very eclectic.
Afro-Caribbean
Let's say
vibe.
that.
They're all different. They're all different.
So, okay, so when you talk about alternative rock, kind of explain to that to our viewers what you mean by that.
Yeah, so for me, it's a heavier sound,
Okay,
and when some of my influences, to give you an example, are the Queensryche and Evanescence of
okay.
the time. Um, I've got a song that I have not recorded yet that is Alice in Chains sort of vibe in terms of its music, but it'll
Oh,
be my
okay.
vocals on it, and so those will be the songs that are going to be coming out later part of this year, early part of next year. I've got one right now that is pretty heavy. It's more electronic, but it's a heavy electronic song, and that one was co-written with somebody from Serbia, Nenad C. So he did the music for that, and I created the melody and the top line for it. So that was a different
Mhm.
kind of project collaboration. But yeah, it's more of a heavier sound that I gravitate towards. So we'll see how that all turns out. But it's a lot of
So
fun.
here's what I say. When I look at your face, I can't even imagine you doing the hard rock. So how did you get interested in that? I guess I have my own way of kind of looking at people and saying, "Oh, she does this or does that." So you're interesting and you're a mystery to me.
Yeah. So, and I'll send you a picture. But for example, the song that I sent or through Rob that was
Hmm.
sent to you was called
Yes,
I. And the
right.
photo that matches that song is very pop oriented because that song is more pop slash, there's a
Okay.
bit of a reggae vibe to it. It's just a
Mhm.
different kind of song. But the one that I did with Naynad C, for example, that one's called Can You Love Me Till the End? And if you look at the
Oh,
photograph on that one, it's a very different photograph altogether. It looks like my head's been decapitated and
oh my
it's just sitting sort of in this very gray black
God.
background and it looks ominous. And I did the photography on that shot as well, so I'm pretty proud of it. But I grew up with heavy music and I guess, when you're a teenager and sometimes you have a lot of angst and you relate to certain kinds of sounds. So, but I loved all kinds of music always, so I think my music reflects that definitely.
So when how do you get to to a very vulnerable track? What's going on with you when you said when you said really vulnerable, intentional that makes people look at you in a different light?
Yeah, I think my lyrics are, and even my posts, I think some people might think I overshare, but at the end of the day, it's a very deliberate oversharing because I
Okay.
want people to not be afraid to have conversations about emotions. And when I write, I'm really picking a moment in time, which is it's funny because if you don't know me, you will think, oh my God, this girl is stuck in, the past, or she's having a hard time. I remember when I first started songwriting, and I had a friend of mine that was worried about my mental health. I'm like, hey, I just write about emotions. I write about songs that matter, stuff that people go through. That's what I write about.
I
And
love that.
yeah, but sometimes people think I'm oversharing and I don't get over things, but actually, even if I write about a relationship that's broken up, flash forward to today, I'm probably still talking to that ex and we're still good friends and
Oh my
and
gosh. Oh
we've gotten
wow.
over things. We're past it, or sometimes you don't talk to them ever again. But at the end of the day, when I write, it is a moment in time, right? It's whatever you're kind of going through and those are the reference points that I draw in and I really don't hold back.
See, people tell you you overshare, and people tell me I don't share enough. Although I think I overshare. I just think that sometimes when you share too much, then you kind of let people in a little bit too much. So then they're drawing their own conclusions. You talk about doing a post. I did a post earlier this week, and I talked about people who think they know but they really don't know. You know
Yeah.
which way you're going in, and to me that was important that I said that. You know, when people make assumptions, that drives me crazy. Now that part makes me nuts.
Yeah, and well, and it's true, right? And sometimes you don't want people to know too much,
Right.
but at the same time, it is important for me to tell the story, whatever that melody means to me, whatever
Mm-hmm.
that emotion has or story that's come to me in that moment in time when I'm creating that song, that story needs to be told, and it could be my own, but it's not always my own. So when you mention assumptions,
Mm-hmm.
that's another assumption, right?
Yep.
Because I am open, but not necessarily it's all my stuff. So I can hear something on the news that might make me
Mm-hmm.
feel a certain
Mm-hmm.
way about a situation, or, there's a tragedy that happens to somebody that's close to me, or, stuff happens and
Yeah.
inspiration
Yeah.
comes from everywhere. So, yeah, not making assumptions, but I still, even if it's not my story, even if it is my story, I want to tell it and I want to be honest about it because I hope that by doing so, somebody's going to relate to it and hopefully make them feel a little better by working through some of the stuff.
You have just described what I say music is supposed to be. It should be cathartic. So basically,
Yeah,
when someone hears a song and they say, "Oh my God, I felt that. I understood that when he was singing." Does that make you feel more inspired to keep your music going?
absolutely. And for me, it is a therapeutic process. Even
Mm-hmm.
if it's not mine, my story that I'm telling, even if I'm creating it out of my imagination, it's cathartic because um, if I can honor, even in the most base level, if I can honor the intent of the inspiration, if I can honor the intent of the song and what it was supposed to be by expressing it properly and evoking that emotion and conversation. That to me is therapeutic. Just to get the song right, the way it was intended to be, that is therapeutic. But then if I can double that therapy by actually making it meaningful and making it impactful, and there's some kind of a sense of a resolve emotionally by hearing it or sharing it with somebody. 100%. I would say that's one of the reasons why I keep writing, because it really, first of all, it helps me process my own feelings about things, whether, again, they're stories I'm telling or whether they're my stories I'm telling. It just helps me process how I'm feeling about that situation. And I think art in general is really important for helping elevate people to a better place.
How important do you think your art is, or art in general, in the climate that people seem to find themselves in right now?
It is so important. There's so much negativity, and the
Mm-hmm.
world is going down a rabbit hole that is pretty dark right now, and it's
Yeah.
every nation is feeling it, and we're feeling it in different ways. We are feeling it within our own countries, and I don't know. It's so it's so hard. Everything is so expensive. There's, the looming threat of AI and losing jobs, and the future can feel really grim and overwhelming and uncertain and dark. And that's the future. Today is a struggle. Today is a struggle to put food on the table, to, afford things for your kids, to
Mm-hmm.
um, there are so many things. So art is actually one of the few things that can be free, to
Wow,
whether
I
you're
love.
doing it for yourself or
Uh-huh.
whether you're enjoying it by somebody else. I was walking through the subway the other day and there was a busker out there, and that man's putting in his time and his and giving his art to the world around him, but
Okay.
he's doing that for free. It's great if he's making some money because
Mm-hmm.
people are stopping to pay for his art. But
Mm-hmm.
there are lots of things that are out there. Visually, you can see some beautiful paintings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just art is a gift, and it's what we can give to each other in times like this to help us get through.
You mentioned, because I hear this conversation all the time about AI, and let me preface by saying I was the first person, well, one of the people who said, you know, I don't know anything about AI. I never want to use AI. I don't get it, and so I this is how I feel about AI. I said AI is not, to me, is not meant to take the place of other people or jobs. It's supposed to be used as a tool to assist someone in doing what they're doing. So that's how I look at it. So I'm not going to be fearful of it, but I think you kind of have to lean into it, but lean into it in a different light, in a way, and to say, you know, this is going to help me, not replace me. That's how I look
Oh,
at AI.
I hope so. I definitely hear you on that, and there are a lot of incredible tools for sure. But I think part of
Mhm.
that whole conversation too is just the general uncertainty around us, and
You're
then
right. Yeah. Mhm.
we just don't know what to trust. Is it only going to be a tool? Is it not? So it's the same thing with music. We're worrying
And so
about.
I look at people sometimes when they're using AI with their music and they're putting out these videos. I can tell when it's an AI video. Some people may say, "Oh, I can." Yeah, it's good, but it does not replace what I can see. Yeah, because to me, it's like the facial features are always off. Something is always off that I can point to it for me. So if people just want to make a video to say I made a video, but it's AI, oh, okay. But
Yeah,
I guess I'm just that old school person that I like to look at, like, just the basics, I guess. So when something looks too polished to me, it sends up a red flag for me.
yeah. Well, and that's interesting, right? That it sets off a flag for you,
Hmm.
and so there's that reaction. I I know people do that, and I might even experiment with it as well because I don't have a video yet, so it might be a quick way
I
to
was
just
going
get
to ask
something
you
out there.
that.
Yeah, no, I'm a little behind on the marketing part of music making, that's for sure. I have been focusing on just doing the songs. Like I've got I don't know, over 100 a cappella songs, which is how I started writing. They're all a cappella and they're not well recorded and they are what they are, but in terms of copyright, even a scribble on a little, Kleenex, if you've got some lyrics, you own those lyrics, that's
Hmm.
that's your product. But I'm now going back to those and I'm recording them in a studio and starting to do that more professionally. And as I do that, then the next step will be to build up the marketing behind it and really get the website all finished and updated and add more visual content and make it more interesting. It's tough, when you're an indie artist because you've got to wear all these hats on your own.
Oh,
And
trust me, I
there's never a shortage of things that has to be done. But right now I've been focusing on writing the music, so that's the rest will come for sure.
So how long? What was the? How long have you been working in music or been in the music industry? And what brought you to this particular lane? Because I know you did something else beside music before you started doing the music, or have you always done music?
Absolutely. Well, yeah. So I started writing when I was maybe 12 to
Oh my
14. I started just writing poetry then,
God. Mm-hmm.
just playing around with words and
Mm-hmm.
ideas and then that kind of grew into script writing. I was really into capturing funny moments and
Oh.
and things that were happening and or emotional things. And then I just got into songwriting. So as a teen, I was writing a lot, and I carried that forward probably up until I did my first demo in my late 20s. And there
Okay.
was a lot of time in between there because I had to go to school and do the whole university thing and,
Mm-hmm.
find myself and all of that fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got into career and family, and that knocked me out for quite a while.
Right.
But as a single mom, I found, being a single mom 24/7, never having a break, never having a
Yep.
single moment to myself. It was just so stressful sometimes. And music just came back. It just naturally came back. And it was haunting me. It was really demanding my
Wow.
attention. And so I started writing. I wrote one song a cappella, and then I wrote another. And the next thing I knew, I had 10 songs. And the next thing I knew, I had 20. And I thought, okay, maybe I'm onto something.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so it all came back later in life, and it came back with a vengeance. So But I will say it was actually when it first started to hound me, I would get these melodies and I thought, well, what am I going to do with them? There was actually a photographer online that was, again, promoting art and community
Hmm.
through art, and she used to do these weekly theme projects where
Okay.
she would post, a word, and everybody, whether they did felt work or they did oil paintings or they were photography or whatever they did. Everybody would contribute at the end of the week, whatever that word meant to them. They would create an art piece based on that, and so I joined that group, and I was the only one in that group that did music, and that was amazing because it was every week was a different theme, a different concept, and not necessarily anything that I would have conjured up on my own, but everybody does their interpretation of it, and that really got the juices going too. That was a fun project actually.
So, so I know you said you're a single mom. So when you look at your kids and they say, "Well, I can't believe you're doing this," how inspired do you think they are to see their mom following her dream?
Well, actually,
Oh, they
it was probably a nightmare for them for a long time, because they were so embarrassed by it. They just thought, what the hell is mom doing? And
what?
oh yeah, I mean, if you can imagine though too. So here I am, I'm trying to raise these girls, and I'm sneaking away in the middle of the night to try and write these songs because I had no other time. So
Oh
they'd
my
be in
God.
bed. They'd have their sleepover friends, and then all of a sudden at 2 in the morning or whatever, they would hear me singing, and I'm trying to record stuff. So they were always embarrassed because, I'd be found out, and it was just the worst thing for them. But now, flash forward another 7 years since
Uh-huh.
I started doing it again. They're coming around, and I think they find it's pretty cool. I know that, yeah, and I know that they've got some of my songs on their playlist, and I
Oh,
know that
now that's the ultimate right there.
that's a good sign, right?
Yes. Yes.
And I do know that some of their friends actually really like my songs and like singing the songs and play them a lot as well. So, and that's amazing because quite often as a musician, you think your family is going to be the one that's putting in the likes on every,
Right.
delivery.
Right. Yep.
Well, they don't in my family, but they're starting to come around and it's happening organically, and that's even better because I'm not selling them on it, and they're just kind of recognizing it. And so that's a whole different heartfelt
I
um
love what you said right there because sometimes family can be so difficult, or should I say dismissive, and
dismissive.
they don't understand what it is that you're doing. But when they start seeing your name in other places or in lights, as we want to call it, they're like, okay, well, maybe there is something to that. I mean, I'm saying that because I have walked that road. And I remember because my mom always says when I first started doing this whole company, this whole thing, she's like, I don't really understand what you're doing, but if you're doing it, then go ahead and keep going. And so even today, she still says, I don't really understand, but I see it and I like it. And to
That's
me,
awesome.
right, and to me, that's the biggest compliment ever, is that she keeps leaning in there, trying to understand on what it is that I do. So I love the fact that she's doing that.
Absolutely. And Elle, it's a weird thing, but when they were younger and they were horrified by what I was doing. Like literally it was, and they were demanding that I would stop, like begging and
Wow.
pleading. And it was so emotionally it was hard on me because it really makes you second guess what you're doing, if it's any good, if your kids don't even like it, what are the adults going to think, all those doubts, and it comes up when your own kids are that upset about, like distressed about
Wow.
it.
Wow.
So they used to tell me all the time to stop, but I think we're past that now, so that's
I am
good.
so glad to hear that, and I think they're proud. They haven't probably haven't told you just yet, but I'm sure they're super proud of their mom. They're
Yeah,
like people are knowing who she is, and it's a cool thing now. When people
it's a
other people
cool thing.
recognize you, it's a cool thing now. Mom, my mom's a singer. Yeah, it's great.
It is a cool thing. They don't give me too much leeway, but they do. And I know they're coming around, and I know that they do feel good about, exactly as you said, it's different now because now they do also recognize it as mom following her dreams. And that's a whole other conversation, right?
I love that because it's so important that your kids see you following your own dreams. I didn't even realize how important it was until I have a daughter. So my daughter's a girl, as you probably could tell. And so she works side by side with me with a lot of stuff, with everything that I'm doing pretty much. But and I always tell her when she was growing up because I said here's the thing, my family has a medical background. Everybody works in medical, and I went the opposite way. Just of course because that would just be me because that's just who I am. And so nobody can really understand. I always tell my daughter it's important to follow your dreams so that you make yourself happy. That's what I said to her. What happened? Okay. I think for some reason, yep, I'm here. What happened?
All right. Awesome. I don't know. The phone dropped, but I got you
Oh,
back.
okay.
Yeah.
I was like, what happened to her? So anyway, I'm saying it's just really awesome when your kids can recognize what you do and love and appreciate and value for what you do, and not be embarrassed. So I was just saying, I
Yeah.
have a daughter that's a grown daughter, so I know I know that feeling very well.
Yeah. And it's important, right? Because you have to, you gotta, I know we've got to mentor them, be there for them, but we also have to show them the way. And sometimes you have to be that strong and confident, convinced, compelled to do something that would be out of the norm and face criticism. But if you're sure that that is your path,
Yep.
you're really showing and proving a lot to them that they would never get to feel and see anyway else. So it's important to follow your dreams. Yeah.
I think that's one of the things that my daughter appreciates about me. She'll never say it, but I just think so. That I follow my dreams, and I always encourage her to do the same, not to be like everyone else. Because no matter how many millions or billions of people is in the world, we all have to meet, in my opinion, different paths. So,
Yes.
and I think there's enough space for everyone in the world to do how they see and how they what they want to do, and to be purposeful in what and how they move.
Absolutely. And you're doing it by doing the show that you're doing, by following your path. And I think again, it goes back to songwriting, creativity, entrepreneurship, all of these things that make us um, fulfill our passions and
Hmm.
live our dreams. They're so important, not just for the contribution that we're making, whatever that may be,
Yep.
but really for our mental health.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know,
How many? Because how often do you want to walk around and you hear people saying that they're not in a happy place because they're not doing what they want to do?
that's right.
Yeah, and it seems so destructive. I was having a conversation earlier. Maybe this will inspire you too, with my producer that works for my music part of my business, and so we signed this new artist, right? And he comes from a huge legacy family. I'll tell you about that later on. But he's doing this song, and I was like, he's got the vocals. My producer's like, I know he can do this song. And for like a whole week, he was frustrated. I'm listening to certain things. I was like, oh, this is just not gonna work. So he calls me today, right before you come. He says, "Hey, Elle." I was like, "What?" You know how you have that dread in your voice, like, "Oh God, what is it today?" And he says, "No, no, 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 it's good." I was like, "How good is it?" He said, "Let you hear something." And so he started playing. It's not mixed or at all, but it was just his raw vocals. And I was like, I literally was smiling from ear to ear, and I had tears in my eyes. And I was like, "Oh my
Beautiful.
God, you did it!" And he says, "This is a group that I've always wanted to work with." I said his family's group was somebody I always wanted to work with for years. And he said, "You literally saved my life." I was like, "Don't say that to me." He's like, "You did. You don't know. You put your trust in me to be your producer." Don't. And I was like, "I didn't save your life. It's your talent." And
Oh,
it
that's
was
so
just,
good.
I was just like, "Oh my God." He kept playing. I'm like, "Oh my." He said, "It's not even master." He said, "Can you believe it?" I was like, "No," because for a week you were like crazy mad because he wasn't doing what him to do. And I was like, "This was so good." So I just wanted to share that story with you. So keep you inspired.
No, and that is a whole other part of it, right? Is how we elevate each other.
Yes.
working together and just taking it to the next level, pushing people along when you also believe in them. It's just the whole journey, the whole process of songwriting for me, and working with your people for you, like the
Mhm.
whole process is also therapeutic. And I don't know, I think I would be missing out on a lot of things in life if I
I
wasn't
think
doing
so
what I'm
too.
doing.
I told him, I said, when I brought him on board, I was like, I do the interviews, the magazine, so I do all of the publication stuff. He brought me into the whole music thing. I've always interviewed musical artists, but I stay behind the scenes, right? And so I was like, oh my God. So every day when he's doing this process, I'm learning more from him that I didn't even think was involved in making music. I don't think people understand the different levels and the complications that comes to creating music and creating masterpieces. It's a whole nother
It's a
situation.
whole other thing. Yeah, no, and I love it. I do love it. And every single day, it just fills my soul with
I
joy,
love
you know?
that. I love that.
Yeah.
I love That's what music is supposed to do, fill your soul and refresh you at the same time. I'm so glad to have this conversation with you. I tell
Yeah.
people when they come on Elle Unfiltered, we have conversations. We don't talk about the basic stuff like music, even though that's great. But I want to get to know the person behind the music. And you are
Yeah.
amazing. You're funny. And
Thank you.
I can hear the creativity. And so yeah, I just want to lean into more about your music and let people know about your latest single that you have released and where they can find your music.
All right. So the one that was sent to you was
Hmm.
called I, and
Hmm.
that's I is actually about it was about me just again I was going back thinking I've been raising kids for so long, all I want to do is go dancing.
Oh my gosh!
So anyway, that whole song was about just me taking time out to go have a girls' night, just go have some fun,
Oh,
just keep it light. So that's me. And then the one I just released on another one on Friday on the
yep.
15th,
Hmm.
and that one is called Hold On. And contrary to what you might think, it might sound like it means, hold on to a love or hold on to a
Hmm.
person or hold on to to
Hmm.
something, but actually it's about hold on. What the hell just happened?
Oh wow!
And really, it's just about, second guessing and just realizing what the actual relationship is really all about and getting the hell out of there. So that is my new song that's out. If you did a search on Anna Nicholson and combined it with the label, which is Indian Gypsy Music, if you did a
Yes.
search on that on any platform
Hmm.
any streaming platform that you're on or on YouTube, Anna Nicholson, Indian Gypsy Music, my stuff will come up. It'll pop up. You might find my Americana. You might find
Hmm.
all my stuff is out there, and then I'm also putting it on my website, indiangypsymusic.com. Right now, that site only has the original acapellas. But eventually, what I'm going to be doing is taking those acapellas and doing before and afters. So you'll be able to kind of hear the difference between where I started with the idea and where it evolved to, which is really cool. And at some point, I'll just open it up and probably let other people submit their version of it as well, because now you can again AI, whatever, do it yourself, however they come around it. So it'll be more, I don't know, engaging and people sharing music as well. But yep, we're going to get to updating the website and getting everything all together by the end of the year.
Look, I would say I said God bless you because I understand with the undertaking of that. I am literally up to like 1, 2, 4 in the morning. I'm exchanging emails with people, working on certain things. So I put my head to the pillow about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and
It's
I'm like,
so
man,
so time consuming, but it's so worth it.
it is so worth it, and it doesn't even feel like work. That's the other thing I tell people: when you love what you do, it does not feel like work.
100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely right.
One question before I let you go, because I have loved this conversation, and I don't want to end it, but I have to at some point. But one more question: because the music industry has grown and has changed so much, how difficult, or do you find it difficult at all to maneuver through the whole music industry? From like back in the day, we had people to sign to a label, and like you said, you have your own label. So how has that been for you? Jumping
You
back in
know,
and everything.
yeah, and that's a great question, and probably so
I
many people
tried.
would answer the, yeah, no, that's a great question. I find it's nice doing it on my own,
Mm-hmm.
because at least I've got control of where it's going. It's not nice doing it on my own because I don't have enough hours in the day to do it
Right.
properly.
Mm-hmm.
And then in terms of AI and streaming, I find it's very tricky because algorithms are, if you're not syncing up to the algorithm the way it needs to hear you, if you're not getting, then it won't propel you forward the way, major
Right.
labels still have
Mm-hmm.
the monopoly to do it. So there are advantages and disadvantages. I would say I still like doing what I'm doing. I still think the approach that I've taken is going to evolve, and I will find my groove.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about it. It'll come
Okay.
together. I think a lot of that's going to be merch and developing different things, but at the end of the day, it's branding. And so right now, my journey has brought me to the point where I'm doing the recording. The next part will be getting that marketing engine going. So eventually people will find me much easier and they will be looking for me. So that's where we're going. And I'm loving the process, all of it.
And you know what? You are so, I mean, just so inspiring and so positive. And even I want people to really take that message. So when they hear that, they're like, okay, I'm going to stop complaining. And all I can say is that you can do what you do at certain time frames. It's not easy. And like you said, it is, I love when you guys say process. I'm going to probably say that after a while. But
Yeah, but Elle, you're part of that process, and the things that you're doing for indie artists and other folks like you, the time and energy you're putting into helping us out and promoting us, it's the only way we're gonna by working together, right? Because otherwise, these large conglomerates, I mean, it's a huge engine to crack, and they've got so much money behind them, but it's this grassroots movement. It's
yes, yes,
working with the
yep,
local communities, the
definitely.
radio stations, the
Yep.
personalities, and so thank you for doing all you're doing to help us out.
Well, you're quite welcome. I will tell you, so you were talking about algorithms. I never shut up. I always say last question. I don't. When you're talking about algorithms, this. I'm like you. It's taken a long time to figure out how that actually works. So one, I was decided I'm going to create this post. I did, and all of a sudden it started going crazy. It was like 100 people. Then it jumped up to like 500 people. Then 1,000 people. Then like 10,000 people. I was like, what the heck is happening? And so I didn't think it was really a great post, but apparently they did. So
Good.
by the time it finished, we had garnered over 180,000 viewers.
Fantastic.
And
That's
I didn't know,
fantastic.
and I was like, "What?" And I told my daughter, I said, "Look, is this real?" She was like, "Yes, mom." I was like, "Oh, okay." And so it's been continuing growing after that. So now if you start seeing me post about over 200 and some thousand views so far on certain things, it's like I guess I hit the algorithm. I honestly don't know. I keep trying to recount. I don't know. But whatever I did, I think it's been like over a number of years of me just working and putting it in and putting it in until. So
Until.
I was always worried about, well, I want to see it like 10,000 people hit like a post or whatever. Well, hell, I just jumped past that in one post. I was like, what?
I love it. That's perfect. And that's what I hope will happen
It
on my
will.
side as well. And it's just a matter of, continuing doing what we're doing and every I don't know if you remember that. Was it Halo? That Halo commercial back in the day? And you tell two friends and they tell two friends and
I
so
do.
on,
Yes, yes.
and that's kind
Hmm.
of the same thing, right? It'll grow exponentially and it'll happen organically and
And
it'll be
it'll grow
amazing.
organically, right? I know some
Yeah.
people when they see me talking about it, and they say, I said, I honestly, because so then what I do is I took a screenshot of my the numbers, and I was like, this is the pretty thing I made, and this is the receipt. So you can never
Yeah.
say that I'm exaggerating. You know it's right there, and all those different levels that I hit from like 1,000 to like 50,000 and 120,000. I'm like, what in the world? But I said, you know what? To
Yeah.
me, it's all God given. It's all God
It's
given.
all God given. And if I can say one more thing,
You
just
can.
it's just come to mind too. But the journey itself, and you're
Yep.
talking about the question about what's it like when you're doing it on your own and all of that.
Hmm.
The other thing I'm going to say is doing it on my own, doing it on our own is one thing, but then it's also the beauty of today and doing it this way too is without a major label. This
Yep.
is this is me now at this point in my life. I'm not 20, right? So I'm not 20 just, um starting out and having the advantage of being young and all of that. I'm trying to make a difference for my age group. I'm trying to make a difference. I'm trying to make a statement. Again, about following your dreams at any age, about, making a positive contribution to art,
Yes,
to music, whatever
yes.
you're doing,
Hmm.
to creating a radio station that's independent streaming, like all of that at our age. I think it's so important to just be relevant, stay engaged, do positive things. And yeah, I look forward to the fruits of our labor.
I'm looking forward to hearing more of what you put out, and you have to come back and talk to me some more. And if you need anything else from, is you can go and check out what we do and all the different pillars that we have going on. If you want some help there, let me know there too, because I got an amazing. When I say an amazing producer, oh my God! And you just have to get to know him. He's fantastic.
Awesome. I love crossing borders when days make it easy again. I'll be down there. So I look forward to meeting you someday. We're not that far away. And thank you so much for having me on the show today. I also will send you that link to that heavy song that I was talking about,
Please
so you could
do,
just
please
even
do.
look at the graphic.
Okay.
And I'd love to know what you think. But thanks so much, Elle. What a
Oh, thank,
pleasure to
thank,
speak
thank
with
you,
you.
thank you. It's been such a pleasure talking with you. You guys have been listening to Miss Anna Nicholson all the way from Canada. Yeah,
Thank you so
and
much.
thank you, and enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye bye.
Thank you. You too. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
There you guys. All right. So there you guys go. I was having an amazing conversation with Anna Nicholson from Ontario, Canada. So talented, and some of the things she said, a lot of things, but one of the things that she made clear to me, and to some of you guys who are tuning and listening, and some who may catch the video later on, was about doesn't matter your age. You just follow your dream, whatever's in your heart, but still, you have to follow your dream, but you have to be smart about it. So she said she worked, she was a single mom, raised kids, did all of that great stuff. And still now she said it's time for her to get back to her music that's always been with her. So you know what? I won't tell you guys the whole interview, the whole conversation. You guys are gonna have to go to EB Vision, which is being created on our website. You have to see the expansion that's happening with LB Media. It's God given. It's an amazing gift. And I just want to say thank you guys for tuning in for this great conversation. And make sure you join us back here on Thursday, because my next guest is going to be Mario Sunrise. Mario is in Italy, and so we had to kind of shuffle him around. So he's going to join us. We're going to be here at 11 a.m. on Thursday, which is 4 p.m. in Italy. He's going to join me, and we're going to have another conversation with this artist on Thursday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, 4 p.m. if you're in Italy. So everybody can tune in and check it out. As I always say, LB Media is global. We go beyond the borders. There you guys go. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. And then midweek is coming up tomorrow, so enjoy the rest of the week and keep following us on social media. Just go to lbmedia.com, tune in and listen to KELM Radio, listen to the music and listen to how much more music we're adding to that as well. In the meantime, in the between time, see miracles in life every day and just smile when you can. Peace out.